I talked about the fullness of the Gentiles. Blindness in part has happened to Israel. In other words, their program that got interrupted will continue until the fullness of the Gentiles comes in. And I think that fullness of the Gentiles means to be God got every Gentile saved he wants saved. When he thinks, I've got it all, then fullness of the Gentiles here. That's why Satan hates us to lead anyone to the Lord. We're adding to the fullness of the Gentiles while he wants to keep them. Now, I know Pastor Ricky believes and others believe that the fullness of the Gentiles corresponds to the fullness of Israel. And what's the fullness of Israel? Well, when they come into their kingdom. So what is the fullness of the Gentiles then? If that's the case, in like manner, it's when we come into our glory, which is the rapture. Which makes a lot of sense, and I don't disagree with that per se. But Paul goes on to quote, after he says all this, the fullness of the Gentiles become in, he quotes in Romans 11, 26, and 27, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn ungodliness from Jacob. This is my covenant with them, and when I take away their sins. That's the fullness of Israel, I believe. All Israel being saved. And it's not every single Jew, it's the nation per se, brought back into covenant relationship, and the nation bows the knee to Messiah and accepts him. And so that's not unlike the fullness of the Gentiles being the number of us getting saved in our fullness in order to be raptured. So I maintain that's what the fullness of the Gentiles mean.